Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining us today. I am Laksh Gangwani and I love bringing out stories from wealth management industry around great transformation, innovation. I've always been a fan of Julius Baer, so when I got the opportunity to be with them in the Global Private Banker Studios, I said, okay, let's pounce upon this. So today I have with me Sasha Walker from Julius Baer and Patik, who are going to take us through the amazing work they are doing at Julius Baer. Welcome Sasha and welcome Patik. Good afternoon to you guys. Thank you for being here. So do you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, please?
Sasha, you want to introduce?
I think you can start because you are the center of attention today.
Thank you, Sasha, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Patik Gupta, and I am part of Julius Baer. I am driving a transformation program in Julius Baer, which is called diaz. We will talk about it in more details in a couple of minutes. It's very excited to be here and be with Laksh and Sasha. And I hand over to Sasha to briefly introduce himself.
Thank you, everyone. First of all, thank you to Global Private Banker to have us here. That's an honor. And thank you, Laksh, for the time spending to interview me here again. Maybe a quick introduction from my side. I'm Sasha Walker. I'm working for Julius Baer about 15 years. I'm kind of a veteran, but 10 years in Singapore. I'm overseeing a department called Strategy and Business Operation, but in a nutshell is actually all change management.
Thank you so much for that kind introduction, and thank you Neerav and Global Private Banker for the opportunity. See, we'll quickly get started and we'll keep this very friendly conversation. So, wherever we go, it is all about connected ecosystems. We are seeing big players talk about, metaverse and connected ecosystems, and it is coming to private banking. Now, I do want to pose this question as a starter. What are you guys doing about connected ecosystems in private banking? So, Patik, do you want to take that first?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Lux. And I think it's a great question. When it comes to connected ecosystem, Julius Baer has obviously, since COVID, has embarked on a very, very accelerated investment time horizon. And what we are seeing now is a result of some of the investment that the bank has made over the last 2 or 3 years. When we talk about connected ecosystem, one of the topics that comes at the forefront within the bank itself is a platform that we recently launched in Singapore and Hong Kong. It's called diaz, as I was also alluding to in the past. diaz stands for Digital Advisory Suite. It's basically a platform which allows all the relationship managers, our investment advisors, to basically advise the clients on their opportunities. So every advisory process is basically, or every interaction with the client goes via diaz. So it is a centerpiece for the RM. It is where the RM starts his or her day, and it is where he is able to use the technology to identify business opportunities for the client, able to place orders and trades, and it is able to also manage the risk for the client. So it is a all-in-all solution used globally by about 2,500 relationship managers and ARMs. In Asia, we have about 1,000 people who are using diaz. So it is a centerpiece for the bank, and very great to see that coming live to Asia.
Oh, that is wonderful progress. And Sasha, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I mean, what is maybe important that as a bank, we now have a global platform. So it doesn't matter if a relationship manager sits in Switzerland or in Singapore. Everyone is using the same platform. That gives us as a bank a high degree of efficiency and scalability. Also yesterday, I want to congratulate Patik and the team. We launched successfully Middle East. So Middle East RMs booked in Singapore are also now on diaz, and the last milestone we're going to reach next weekend is Thailand. So I think then we are fully integrated in terms of the advisory process and systems.
So I want to ask you guys, what are the pain points you are addressing with diaz as of now, and what is the future roadmap looking like?
Laksh, I think the bank has invested tens of millions of dollars in diaz as a platform globally, and the biggest, obviously, the driver of that investment is to make sure that the RMs are able to have a much more efficient and a risk managed advisory conversations with their client. So one of the first pain points that this platform addresses is the administrative inefficiencies that typically exist in a process where, okay, you have a great idea, you have to source that idea from different systems, you have to work on identifying the disclosure documents that you need to disclose to the clients, you need to prepare proposal, you need to then once client accepts the idea, then you have the whole trade process where you have to make certain disclosures and certain activities as part of the pre-trade process. What Diaz does is to basically encompass the entire process into one system.
Oh, that is wonderful. And for those of you who are joining us and don't know the background, unconnected ecosystems or disparate systems where RMs have to go into a lot of these costs banks millions in opportunity cost, and a large percentage of customers because of this face or experience no or low engagement. So hats off to you guys that you are addressing this hands-on.
I think we have to look now ahead. Diaz is go live. What is next? I think we did an integration that the system is working properly. We did a lot of change management and transformation because it requires a lot of in the mindset of an RM also to change. Now the next step will be also that we are looking, okay, how we can actually potentially approach client directly with content. So through Diaz. So Diaz will ensure that the client only gets the content that is relevant for him, but also within his risk profile. But the second step is also to look how maybe a client can directly content without having a relationship manager between who has to sort out what is relevant for the client, but still up to discretion of the relationship manager.
What are the opportunities that you are seeing in Asia which you could address with these technology investments that you have made?
In Asia is a growth market, not just for Julius Baer, but as an industry as a whole. The wealth management industry has grown tremendously in Asia, and so has the bank Julius Baer. When it comes to new opportunities, as Sasha mentioned, one of the areas that we are investing in is digital assets. On top of that, I think when we talk about platforms like Diaz, there is a continuous investment in terms of, or the opportunities that we see is better risk management for the client. With opportunities comes growth, with growth comes risk. Yeah. And risk management, as a bank, we are in the business of risk management and making sure that our client receive the reward for the risk that they are taking. Diaz as a technology platform also helps to manage the risk of the portfolios of the clients, and that's an investment that we will continue to make when it comes to changing regulatory landscapes, changing the risk framework of the bank. Those are the areas that we want to be ahead of the curve, not behind. Other opportunities that we see growing tremendously in Asia, which will be an investment for the bank Julius Baer, is the customized mandates offering. We have globally a solution called Mandate Solution Designer. A solution allows a client to basically invest into a mandate strategy which is very much customized. So today when we talk about discretionary mandates, they are very much plain vanilla, or they are basically standardized product. And what we as the bank are looking at globally is to allow every client to customize his or her mandate tailor them according to their requirements. Obviously this requires a technology solution, it requires a portfolio monitoring and a risk management solution. This is something that we have globally launched, and then over time we want to bring this particular solution into Asia because we are seeing bigger and bigger demand of such products and such services here in Asia.
Our most important revenue driver in the bank is structured products. So I cannot give you an exact amount here, but structured product is the asset class with the highest revenues in Julius Baer Asia. So what we're having for the RM is a tool called Derivative Toolbox, which allows the RMs based on the client input to customize their structured product, their fixed coupon notes. And now we're looking at the feasibility. Is this something that we can even give the client access directly in the future?
Yeah, and that is a wonderful update because I just want to share this from my personal experience. There are a lot of banks where RMs don't want to sell structured product because of the complexity of it or getting it priced. So now, because they have a tool in Julius Baer which can help them price this, using UI, and this can be extended to customers. So that is great progress that you guys have made. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now we'll be shifting gears and we'll be asking, what lies ahead. So innovation is such an important part of any business today, and more so for the financial industry. So Sasha, can you talk to us about some of the innovative projects, opportunities that you're looking at in Julius Baer?
Everyone is talking about innovation, and I think it's a common topic, and we also realize it's easier to talk about it than to practice on it. And what we also realize is that when innovation starts from somewhere, it comes from the ground, and then it goes to a global process, and then from a global process until it ends up in Asia, the whole innovation is already gone. So what we get as a bank was the funding and the commitment that in Asia we can create a so-called innovation lab. The innovation lab is actually that you have people bringing up ideas. Their superiors, it's really on the managing director level, are fully accountable for the ideas. They will go for a 6 weeks sprint and then deploy a use case.
And I think a lot of times what the audience or some people don't understand is that banking is a regulated environment. To innovate, it is disrupted, and regulations are the opposite. Yeah. They want to control disruption. So banks are always walking a very thin line when it comes to innovation, and innovation in banking, in my opinion, should be more celebrated because of the whole regulatory constraint. So now we won't let you go off this question. So Patik, what are some of the innovative things you are working on?
Yeah, so I think when we talk about innovation, Laksh, as Sasha mentioned, there are innovation in ideas, which when we talk about diaz, we are working on. As Sasha mentioned, innovation is also about being better at processes. And one of the things when we went live with diaz was the way we have set up the entire diaz program. It is basically in a very agile setup. Today, when we look at in a lot of competitor banks, a technology solution, and the change of the time it takes from an idea to bringing it live into the hands of a RM or a ARM, it is a multi-month or a multi-year journey. Today with diaz, if an RM or an ARM has a particular idea of how he or she should be looking at diaz, or the way he or she wants to interact with diaz as a platform, from an idea generation to the implementation of that idea into the solution itself can be done in a 3-month time frame. So to me, we have set up an agile team. The agile, we have monthly releases. There are the whole agile setup with scrums and with the small teams who are looking at making the whole process much more faster. And to me, that part never gets exposed as much as the content part, but I believe that part is equally important, because from a transformation point of view, it is important to make the transformation faster, as much as it is about making the whole transformation valuable to the client.
What is Julius Baer doing so that they can engage the next gen clients in the way they want to be engaged? So the mic is with you now.
Thank you. It's a different way they want to be approached. Historically, maybe traditional private banking style, you bring your client out for a business lunch and you discuss the portfolio, and luckily maybe the banker come out with some investment ideas and could do some transaction. These days, I think the generation doesn't want to interact in that extent. They are independent. They still need an RM angle they can talk to, but nevertheless, they want to make the decision, and they want to take the decision fast. So I think Julius Baer was the first bank who actually introduced a kind of order taking in a format of WhatsApp and WeChat. That allows you really to have a conversation with the client on that channel, not maybe by a call, because the client may not be available. He may be already in a meeting and still wants to place a trade. So I think that's a way to do that. And I think that was successfully launched in Switzerland, but now also in Asia.
Yeah, thank you. And just to summarize, so you were talking about how they want to engage in a frictionless manner on their preferred platform, and you're doing exactly that by taking orders from them on WhatsApp.
Yep.
I really wish I was rich, so to be a customer for Julius Baer. And no conversation is complete if we don't talk about competitors and how competitive wealth management and private banking is going to get. We see so many banks who are now going to be focused only on private banking or wealth management and super focused on Asia. How is Julius Baer going to differentiate itself?
See, I think Asia is a very competitive market. A lot of private banks operate here. I think when we look at maybe a Julius Baer story in Asia, it is about the pure play private bank being one of the very few pure play private banks in Asia operating at a scale, because scale is critical, because that builds reputation. Julius Baer is now a top 5 private bank and the only pure play private bank which is in the top 5 within Asia, and that says something about the bank's reputation, the bank's brand in the region. We are also one of the very few banks to have presence in markets like Thailand, where we have established a very successful joint venture. There are new areas that we are obviously looking at, new markets that we are obviously looking at, and those I think are areas where having some sort of a quasi onshore offshore presence will help us to succeed. So I think that when I look at the future of private banking and where Julius Baer, a firm like Julius Baer can succeed, it is about being a big mix of onshore offshore, being large and scalable enough as a pure play provider, that it has a name and a reputation of its own in the market, and we obviously have a very strong platform, because attracting the relationship managers, it is as much as attracting the clients, attracting the relationship managers, you can only attract them when you have a very, very successful platform, a successful a way in which RMs can interact within the bank itself to be able to service their client. And I think we have invested a lot, and we will continue to invest significantly in those areas to make the life of an RM easier, so that we can have a much more meaningful experience for the clients.
Absolutely.